when we got to Glen Eyrie, we were sitting on the porch swing of one of the cabins called the Eagle's Nest. Tricia and I, it was just a beautiful Colorado morning. You know, kind of cool, dry. You can see the bighorn sheep and the big rock formations. And Patricia said, you know, Dan, there's something about beauty that heals. And that really stuck with us and became a driving theme when we became directors at Glen Eyrie. And I won't talk to you about all the crazy business stuff that went on there, but to say that God led us to do two things at Glen Eyrie. One was, because of what we went through, we just had a conviction that so many people needed the renewing and the healing. Not just followers of Christ, but anybody. And that we wanted to create a place where the beauty and the presence of God was so present that without a word, people would stop and think, there's something here, and it's renewing me, and it's healing me. And so that's what we undertook to do in terms of the way people were served, the way people were cared for, the kinds of things that we did, the way we took care of the property, the way Patricia lent her design mind to the things that were going there. And it was interesting is as we opened up the grounds that we went from a failing operation to, by the time we left there were some 80,000 plus people coming a year as visitors there, and half of those were not followers of Christ. And I remember a group of engineers that booked a conference there one day, and they had already told their meeting organizer that they would give it one day, because they knew it was a Christian, quote, Christian place, that they would give it one day, and then they would leave and check into a hotel in town. 3 days later, I was out on the terrace, and I was talking to one of the engineers who were just kind of looking off into the distance, and I said, how do you do? He said, I don't want to leave here. There's just something about this place. I just don't want to leave here. And the number of times that this began to kind of create conversations in which people really opened up and shared their hunger for something deeper was amazing. Now, what we did was then we said, you know, there's really a trilogy here. In the scriptures in Genesis, you know, when you look at the garden and you look at the trees there, it was good, it was beautiful, and it was full of truth. And I think that in terms of our work, in terms of the life that we want to put together for ourselves, I think you could do no better than to have a life and a life work that's characterized by goodness, truth, and beauty. And when I think of goodness, I'm not just thinking about good in the sense of right and wrong, you know, evil and all that sort of stuff. But I'm thinking about good in the sense of it's whole, it's complete. That's good work. It's the kind of thing when God looked at his creation and said, that's good. It's good in the sense that when you encounter that kind of work, what it does is that it stirs up in you an awareness of the fact that you're made in the image of God. One of the things about the world of work and the way we interact with people is that almost everything in there damages the person. What it does is it dampens the sense that a person is fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. But our quest at Glen Eyrie was, if we could do work in such a way that without a word, a person felt like they were being, that sense of the image of God in them was being elevated to a point where it was conscious, and all of a sudden they understood their infinite and eternal worth and transcendent nature, we would have really opened their eyes to the Creator. And so we said, we want to live lives personally and in the things that we do that are characterized by goodness. But it's also true, not just true in the theological sense, but true in the sense that you can count on it. True in the sense that it's authentic. It really is what it is. good sunlight, and you would be able to see whether there was any hidden flaws or blemishes in it. And what Paul is saying there is that he wants us to live lives that are that way, that are sincere in the sense that we don't live with the veneer, that we really are who we are, and that we exhibit truth in everything that we are. And then the last piece here is just beauty. I think one of the travesties of our modern age is we've lost the understanding of what beauty is. So a lot of our stuff is just cartoonish, caricatures, trivial. And I think that what you do, whether you serve a meal, whether you offer a room to a guest, whether it's the code that you write, that there ought to be a beauty to it, an elegance to it, that reflects the nature of God. And so a lot of our work at Glen Erie was kind of understanding some of the things that we've had and gone through, and then beginning to think, how do we translate these into creating a place that renews others? And then the other part was just to be a presence in the community. It never went away from me to want to reach people who didn't know Christ. And I thought it was a travesty that this marvelous centerpiece of history, which was really the birthplace of Colorado Springs, was largely an unknown to the community itself, because it had been closed up with a Christians only sign around it. So what we did was that we opened the doors, and we created events to invite the public in. We hosted charities, to raise money for worthy causes in the community. And as an executive, so to speak, when given the choice between becoming a member of the Christian Management Association or the Chamber of Commerce and the Colorado Springs Nonprofit Advisory Board, I always opted for the community function. What was funny was that I became an unknown in the Christian community, even though it's the mecca in all these Christian organizations. And I was very well known in the business community and local government. And again, that opened tremendous doors for ministry, and as we began to have people in, we became the place where the city would come to when they were facing some crucial negotiation and there was some conflict between parties. They would call me up and say, can you give us a private place and a safe place to be so that we can work out these conflicts? We have people that we need to interact with, that we have some sensitive things to go through. And it would just go on and on like this. And so this is where we begin to learn a little bit about the apologetic of hospitality. I want to